Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm still rocking over here. That opening makes me want to go home and get my guitar out.
Fist bump.
Bam.
You guys will get that in a minute.
Yeah. I want to go jam some Metallica now.
You got that, right? Wait, you'll see. Keep up. It'll be a little funny party now.
Hey, this is the State of America Today. This is our Watchmen podcast, and we're the Watchmen. I'm Charles Pauline, Director of New York State and Erie County.
And I'm Brett Byro, Director of Niagara County.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys all had a good week and a good weekend. And we're here again. Thanks for coming back.
Some of us had
must be doing something right if they're coming back.
Yeah. Some of us had a real good weekend.
What'd you do this weekend, Brett?
I went down and supported my rights to protest at D.C.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it down there this week, so. You guys are on your best behavior, right?
Of course we were on our best behavior. Listen, what more do I have to say? No buildings got burned. Nothing got robbed.
Just like little choir boys down there, huh?
I think that, no Trump supporters were beat up.
I don't know. I heard some news reports that things might have been a little different.
Well, things might have. Maybe I'm trying to keep it G-rated,
All right, answer a question for me. Answer this question. Explain this, Lucy. Why is it if you take down a Black Lives Matter sign off a church and burn it, it's a hate crime? But if you burn the church, you don't even get charged?
Nothing. Not a damn thing. I can neither confirm nor deny that a Black Lives Matter sign ended up in any of our hands.
Oh, I didn't say you guys did it. Right. I just happened to see a video on the internet, and they're looking for these guys to charge them with a hate crime because they burned a sign that had the word black on it.
Do you guys see a problem with that? I see a problem with that.
And listen, equal justice under the law.
Charlie, let me explain to you, because we're going to touch a little bit on this when we get down there. This was an advertised protest for Trump. Why were Antifa and Black Life Radicals there wanting to fight everybody to begin with?
Because we're not allowed to protest.
Exactly.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Do I know what I did this weekend?
What'd you do?
Wasn't as exciting as your weekend, but I still had fun. I hung out with some good people.
Yeah, I seen some videos.
We went marching with the Marching Patriots on Saturday. And Mike Segul and his wife Desiree, they're good friends of ours.
Love them.
They go out every weekend, and they pick a different town, and they get their flags and their friends and their people and their kids, and they just go out and march and chant and peacefully, absolutely peacefully. And we just kind of like to go along with them to make sure that they don't have any trouble and to give them a little protection. So why don't we take a look at that and I'll show you what we're doing.
A little bit of dead air, you guys.
Won't tread on our rights, and we won't tread on yours. So I'm going to take a knee in prayer, and we're going to march. Father God, we gather here today, Lord. We ask for your presence in our lives here today, Lord. And we know that where two or three gather, there you are, Father. And you said that those of us who believe in you and who keep your commandments, who keep your statutes, who keep your judgments, Lord, that you are with them. I also pray that you are not just with us alone, Lord, but that you are with President Trump and his family as restored as you are with Lord, as he tries to preserve
I was going to join you guys, but by the time I got to the Sheridan Park, you guys were already gone. So I came home, my wife was like,
get him on Facebook. He has not yet asked Christ into his heart, Lord. I pray that he would. I pray that Melania would. I pray that his son and his sons and his daughters would, Lord. I pray that you lead us through these dark times and that you lead us into the light. That you make the way, Lord.
Solid. But we'll show you the actual march we went on.
So we've seen them in action, when we were at the Million MAGA March in D.C., remember?
Yeah, they came with us on the first trip to Washington. And they did their little Marching Patriots thing down.
Yep, everybody was loving it.
Yep. Great people. So that was the actual march. Peaceful, loud. You know, they make their voices heard. Trump 2020, God bless America. Christ is the Lord. They make it heard, and people come out on the streets and flip us off and shout us down. But we got back.
You have no idea how many times we heard "Go home, Nazis," shit like that. Amazes me.
Well, we had a perfectly peaceful, fun day. We got back to the parking lot. We were all ready to load up into our cars. Most of the people had already loaded up in their cars and took off. Last few of us wanted to spend a little time together, so we're hanging out, just talking, drinking coffee, when 2 Black Lives Matter girls show up. And like you said, why were all those people in D.C.? Because you guys aren't allowed to protest. Apparently, we're not allowed to protest. Well, we weren't even protesting. It was just a rally, a patriotic march. But we're not even allowed to do that without 2, I don't even know what to call these people. Radicals is a nice word. I was going to call them clowns.
Rhinos?
Well, yeah. The one of them charged me like a rhino, and unfortunately I didn't have a tranquilizer gun. But they came over right in the middle of our parking lot, started waving their flag in our face, shoving a sign in our face, F this, F that, you guys are this, you guys are that. It even got to the point where they were calling our kids names. You brought your effing gremlins with you, and it got ugly. And best thing to do is just get in your car and drive away. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And we had a little confrontation with them, but it was no big deal, and that ended our day. But there's always somebody there to try to ruin it for you.
Always. And then I guess it's always, for some reason, our fault.
Right. Well, at the same time we were doing that, what do we got next, Pete? The polling cars thing or the caroling?
All right, so that picture right there, that is showing now, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah. Well, at the same time we were doing our rally, what happened was there was supposed to be a protest at Mark Poloncarz' house, our county executive. And all over the internet the night before, people were gathering up a counter-protest. So it was going to be one group heading off another group in front of our county executive's house. So I let the people know that, hey, these people are organizing a counter-protest against you. I said, wouldn't it be cool if you guys just didn't show up? And then wouldn't these counter-protesters just look like fools? Like they got up on their Sunday morning, went out there for absolutely no reason, and they're standing in front of our county executive's house. So that's the teeny bopper army that came to protect our county executive. And the other group didn't even show up and just made them all look like fools, like they wasted their time. So there's more pictures of the teeny bopper army.
You know what's really funny, Charlie, is I'm sure you've seen the articles of Poloncarz trying to turn this around now and making it look like they were there to protect his house from the Watchmen.
I'm wondering why these little Antifas had to protect him when he apparently got a security force to protect him from us. So, and we're 3 towns over doing something positive, So we got that video, Peter, of the one that Jen made.
Okay, so anyways, in the meantime, guys, you can see, things are, we are, suffered a little bit of a setback here on our beginning, and I truly believe that Facebook is messing
Never
with
mind.
us.
I screwed that up,
Right.
Peter. I screwed that up. We've got that later in the program. But anyway, while we were doing our little rally, they were over there. What do I call them? The teeny bopper army was over there in front of Poloncarz' house. But the very next day, continuing on our weekend, we did our Christmas caroling thing again, and that was beautiful. That went great. We'll throw that video up next.
The following day.
This was Sunday morning while you guys were still down there.
In D.C., I remember.
Nursing your hangover from D.C.
It wasn't a hangover, trust me.
Yeah, this was beautiful. They live streamed this into the building for the seniors, and it was just fantastic turnout. Go ahead and roll that, Peter.
Sleep in
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was awesome. It really was.
Just watching that stuff brings tears to my eyes that many people would come out and just spend their Sunday morning singing to the seniors.
So, in case people that are watching don't realize it, that here in Niagara, or in New York, in Erie County, Niagara County, the seniors have been locked up for 9 months with no interaction of their family or anybody, around there. If you guys remember last week, we showed a little video of one of the seniors actually reaching out and trying to touch us. That I'm sure that's the first human interaction they had with outsiders.
They can't even have visitors. They're dying of loneliness in there and broken hearts, and more than COVID is even affecting them. But
for sure.
That was my weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about your weekend when we get later into the show.
Okay.
But if something like this interests you guys, a group like this called the Watchmen, grassroots movement, started in North Carolina. We brought it up here to New York. It can be brought anywhere in the country. Start your own group. All it takes is one man with some leadership skills and some organizational skills. Find some friends that fit in nice, like I found Brett, and let's do it. Get this whole country organized. Go to watchmanguard.org. Watchman, G-U-A-R-D, guard.org. Talk to the people on that website. Find yourself some friends in your area. Find a group in your area. If there's not, start one of your own.
In the meantime, if you are local in the Niagara County area or the Erie County area or Chautauqua or whatever, reach out to one of us. We'd be glad to bring you in here, and get you started, help you, move along the way. I think that our numbers are growing hugely.
Oh, we can't have. I get messages every day. When's your next meeting? When's your next meeting? When's your next meeting? And we're going to have another one probably on Tuesday. So
okay,
it's just 20, 30 guys every time. 20, 30 more guys every time. Boom,
and
boom,
listen,
boom.
it's not just a bunch of guys that get together and go to protests and aren't prepared and aren't friends. We are like-minded people that do stuff together, that hang out together, that are building a band of the hand. We do level 2 trainings all the time. You guys, this is something that if you don't stand for something, guess what? You're going to stand for nothing. You're going to sit behind your computer and wish and watch things that are going on and losing freedoms and losing liberty and losing everything that we fought for our whole lives now is just being taken from us. If you guys don't see that, shame on you. We need you. We need you to get up. We need you to enact. Join our group. We are. I'm not begging. And I don't think Charlie's begging.
No, we don't have to beg
Right.
anybody. I mean, there's enough people that they're beating down our door to join this group. If you're in New York, go to Facebook, New York Watchmen on Facebook. Just request join there. Look for the next new member meeting, and that's how you get started.
Hell yeah.
Also, if you have any questions, nywatchmen@yahoo.com. Just send me a message. I'll give you any answers you need. You can talk to Dave Horton down in North Carolina on the website, the national website, and we'll take care of you. We'll bring you into the family. But right now, what we want to do, we usually have Dave Horton, the founder, the national founder from North Carolina, take this segment and give us a little talk. But this week, we've got a special guest. This is Michael Paul. He's the director of Cabarrus County, North Carolina, and he's got a message for you that I thought was very interesting, and he's a great guy, so let's give him a listen.
Me, the platform, following up with Jeff speaking, okay? Have you guys heard Jeff? I know you have. The man is brilliant. Have you heard David? Brilliant. I'm sorry that you have to hear my lousy brain spill whatever it's going to spill out of my mouth. But thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. Little history on myself, just really quick. Cabarrus County, North Carolina native, birthplace of the Watchmen. I've known David since, I don't know, maybe middle school. And friended him on Facebook back just this past February, to be honest. Came to a birthday party, and we became rekindled an old friendship. And here's David pouring his heart out on Facebook on a video where he's talking about inequality and the state of our community and the state of our society, and he is wanting to do something. And he said, do any of you guys want to get together at the park and let's talk about it? I was like, man, yeah, I can get on board with something like that, because I've probably like you've been upset for a long time, not just this president or the last president, you've been upset. Think about it. How long have you been suppressing, your anger, or at least your concern about the way things are? How long? A long time. Well, I'm like, okay, here's a guy that most definitely knows what he's talking about. He's, I can get on board. So went to meet, got together at a park, just like the people did, 1700s. They're meeting in taverns. They're guys with pitchforks. They're farmers. They're like, hey, what are we going to do? So I'm like, hey, I'll go see what we're going to do, because I've been wanting to do something. There were, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us there. We bounced ideas off of each other, based on the foundation that David's setting. And, some of us stayed, some of us left, kept going. It was like, man, let's keep this thing going. Let's build on it. And I think the next week, call it 20 people. The next week, call it 40 people, 90 people, 90 people in 4 cities. And then, Watchmen, New York happened. Man, you guys blew up like crazy. Super proud of y'all, man. What a great, great group. So what I want to talk to you guys tonight about is teamwork. Teamwork is so much better than I work, right? I mean, think about all the great things you're good at. I'm sure you're great at tons and tons of things. You can't get everything done you want to get done in a day. If we had a 40-hour day, you would just cram more stuff in there and still not have your checklist done. And if you did get it done, it wasn't the best of your ability. And if you did, send me your notes, because I want to learn how to do it, right? I've got way too much ADD to be trying to do it myself. That's been proven. So what I urge you guys to do today is rely on the team that's being set. Put in the legwork. It all starts with legwork. You have to put a foot forward, even if it's wrong. Even if it's wrong, you got to step forward. Keep moving forward. It'll get better. The policies I wouldn't necessarily say policies, but the ideas and the structure that was set in place in the beginning was fantastic. Still is fantastic. I totally muffled it up in what I was doing in my little pea side of the world, right? I was doing it with passion, but I knew that I wasn't getting it done correctly. And Dave was like, hey, need some help over there? I'm like, I need some help. Let's get it done. I need all the help I can get. So those steps in the right direction, sowing the seeds in the beginning, you know what they developed? They developed your leadership team, the organizational development leadership team. Except for Andrea. Sorry, I've not met Andrea. Looking forward to doing that one day. But every one of the people that's on the organizational development team, except for maybe one, I wasn't there for his first maybe open meeting, and that's V, a radio guy. So it's a great, great dude. But everybody else that's on there, I remember going to just love and just assist other people. An hour and a half away, it doesn't matter how far away it is. I wanted to help in any capacity that I could. And there were people that came to our meeting up in our town that knew some people down over here. They wanted to get going. And, hey, what do we do? What do we do? Will you come talk? Will you come? Man, you want me to come talk? I'll come talk. It's going to be another mess, but I'll come help. I'm fumbling all over my feet and with my mouth. But you know what? You can see the diamonds in the rough. You can see the gold nuggets down in the creek. You ever seen that? That's what it was like. I could see these people that's here building this empire that you guys are witnessing. I saw those people just because I went to go just love people and just share, put in the legwork, sowing seeds, And one guy was like, man, I might not have but 2 or 3 people here. I'm like, man, I'll come serve. It's fine. It's fine. Dude, There could have been William freaking Wallace showed up at that meeting for all I knew. I didn't care. I was going because that's what my passion was. I'm good at getting things going, and we all need. I keep saying I'm sorry. We need a team around us because I realize it. I realize I need a team. So, sowing seeds, we got us a great team. Now all we got to do is take the blueprint that has morphed a little bit because of, there was a plan. This is what we want, and then time goes on, and all these people get involved, and here's what we have. Things needed to change. Things needed to be evolved and morphed, and so thank God for brilliant minds that are around us, and that's happening. And so new structure, new policies, new blueprints, all that's coming down the pike for us to be able to, guess what? Implement, sow the seeds again to more people. This thing's still growing. Just sow the seeds, go love, and implement the plan that's being put in place. It's super simple. Teamwork takes the stress off of you having to do everything yourself. If let's say you wanted to own a coffee shop. You've never made a cup of coffee. You don't have to know how to make coffee to own a coffee shop. You have to hire a barista, and you got to know where to buy the coffee, maybe a cash register, a bank account, and you just got to know how the whole thing works. The same person that owns a mechanic shop can own a coffee shop. It's the same principles. And if you don't even know how to do any of that, just stand by. Stand by, plug in, because it's all going to be laid out by the team. All we got to do is implement. It's going to be great. Promise. Patiently waiting. It's coming. You dive off into that, this thing will, like it did in the beginning, grow like wildfire. But you won't have the spread. It'll be focused more like a laser beam. There's way more effectiveness when you have laser beam focus. My focus looked like the moon at night. The light that's shining on the ground of the moon. That was my focus because I was so scatterbrained. Man, look at the laser type focus we're going to be able to have because of teamwork. Second thing, preparation. Look at the state we're living in, right? You've put it this way. I went to meet my financial planner earlier this week, and because of corporate bureaucratic bull crap that people have to live by, they got to kind of stay out of the limelight. He can't be as involved with our Watchmen as he wants to be, right? Because of corporate. So anyway, invited him early on. So he's always, plugging me, and he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? So he's like, man, I want to get some more guns and ammo. Do you know where I can get some ammo? I'm like, yeah. I was like, dude, you're gonna have to cash in a whole portfolio if you want to try to buy some bullets right now, right? But he's like, yeah, I got some. I was like, well, dude, just prep. I was like, how much? I said, put it this way. I said, how much food do you have? He said, food. I'm like, yeah, food. What you gonna do if who knows what's going to happen? We don't even get into any of that. What if somebody says it's going to snow here anyway? I know New York's different. Look at recent COVID. They said, oh crap, COVID's coming. There wasn't a single ply of toilet paper in anywhere. For how long? I still don't get the toilet paper issue. But anyway, you get my point. Prep. I was like, food, water. Do you have food and water? He's like, not really. I'm like, dude, do you have a wife? He's like, yeah. I was like, have you ever seen her hungry and mad, maybe thirsty? He's like, oh, God, you got a point. I'm like, yeah. I mean, dude, you got to have food and water. So, obviously, guns and bullets are great, but you can't eat them. And if you don't have food, your wife could be using the guns and bullets on your ass, right? So, here's some great places to get good bulk food and bulk water. And it's not only about these things, but let's just plug these two things first. Costco, BJ's, things like that. So if you don't want to go to the store or you don't want to lug it around because you don't have a tractor trailer, go Costco.com. Man, that's where we got a ton of our stuff. I mean, they don't even sell 5-gallon buckets. I think they're dang 8-gallon buckets or something. But you can get a great bang for your buck on your calorie per buck, right? It's all about calories at this point. Who cares about whatever diet you're on? Keto, low fat, or no carb, low carb. What calories? Because you never know when you're going to get any more, right? So, man, 8-gallon bucket. You've got what 300 plus servings of food in a bucket, and it's 25 years shelf life. I don't necessarily want to be eating bean and rice soup the rest of my life, but I can tell you I've been in a place in my life where I would beg for a bowl of bean rice soup. Not to say that you can't have better things. It's a start. You can survive on a can of ravioli a day. Another good bang for your buck, good bang for your calorie buck, is another website, the number 4 Patriots. They have a great selection of stuff that's high calorie. I've had some of it. It's great. Some of the stuff we buy from Costco, it's great. Water. Some of you might have a well. Some of you might be on city water, whatever the case may be. What if it's not there anymore? If you're on a well, you got to have power. What if there's not power? Well, I got a pump. Well, great. We're coming to your house. Water. You can get a pallet of water delivered straight to your house. Right in your garage. Boom, right there. It's not for going to soccer for little Timmy. This is emergency stuff. Put this stuff away. Forget about it. Batteries. Medicine. And guess what else? Come full circle. You have to have a team. You have to have a team in your preparation. Get together with these people in your group that you're forming these relationships with. And you should just about be trusting your life with these people. I trust my life with some of the people I'm with. Not to say that you have to. That's what I would want you to do. Get a plan. Get a plan together. Whose house we going to? If poop really, really hits the fan and everything is gone, where are we going? What are we bringing with us? We should already have it there. And if you don't, it's like investing. It's never too late to start. Get you some food, get you some water, batteries, medicine, and a family to do it with. The website has got some great things coming and some great things that are already on there. In these topics. So, man, I'll leave you guys with that. I am super, super honored to be a part of this group. I'm proud of every one of you. I'm so thankful for David and for Jeff and for everybody else that's putting in the legwork and sowing the seeds for all of us. It's so great to see the growth. The growth is one thing, but with growth you have scatter. So then you got to reform, which is what's happening, and it's going to be super, super tight, and the growth will happen again. But now we'll be productively growing. Okay, I'll leave you with this. This world and this country most definitely needs very few things more than prayer. Probably nothing more than prayer. So I'll leave us in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all of our blessings. Lord, thank you for our health and our family. Thank you for this group, and thank you for our leaders, Lord. And we ask that you to come down and be with them and bless them and steer this country in the right direction. Steer the leaders of this organization in the right direction, and give us all the fortitude to be what you intend for us to be, so that we can walk in your light and do your will. Lord, we pray for all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Watchmen, thank you guys so much. Have a great night. See you guys soon.
to be part of what you guys created.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and
Listen, he's so spot on about prepping and getting ready and building that band of the hand that we're doing. You already know that.
Well, he had 2 points there. One was teamwork, which we're trying to do that. We've set up our own little team here. You know, one man can't do everything. You got to delegate, and you got to bring other people in to take care of different things. And we set up a really good team that's made us successful. And we try to be part of their team, too. They've got a national development team, which we've sent one of our people, Andrea, who's part of that, and she's involved in working with them to make this whole national organization better.
Yeah, I don't think that they were really expecting New York to blow up as fast and as big.
I think they were surprised at what we
yeah.
did, and I hope they're proud of us. I'm kind of proud of what we did, and I hope we can continue making them proud.
Me too.
The other thing was preparation. We don't know what's going to happen. Don't get caught with your pants down. Be prepared. Have toilet paper, have water, have canned food, have dog food, have medicine, have the necessities that's going to get you through a week or two if that's what it takes. A week or two might only get you enough time to form a plan to how you're going to go out and hunt and peck to get the rest of this stuff for the next month or two. So be prepared.
You guys, and it seems like, they're being conspiracy theorists. You guys, it could happen, and why not be prepared in case it does? Really easy. If you go online and you Google what do I need to get me and my 4 people, by for a week, it'll give you a little rundown of exactly what you need. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be really surprised how easy it is to have this stuff on hand.
Right. Let me throw one thing in here. The last couple weeks, I've had people from other parts of the country ask me, "Hey, how can I get one of those hats?" Yeah, you can see Brett says New York Watchmen on it. I had 50 of them made that just say Watchmen. So if any of you guys down in North Carolina, Michael Paul and Dave Horton, I want to send you a couple of these for free. I just need an address. Anybody else? They're $15. $5 to get it shipped to you. So $20 to nywatchmen@yahoo.com, and it'll be in the mail to you tomorrow if you want one.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Listen, I don't leave home without it. You heard me. I was like, I was flipping my shit. Where's my hat? Where's my hat?
Exactly. A lot of people ask me, where can I get one of those hats? And we can hook you guys up with the guy who makes them for us, and you can take care of it yourself. But I had 50 made just for the people sending me messages. nywatchmen@yahoo.com, $20. It'll be in the mail tomorrow. Whew.
You know what?
This is going to be a little longer podcast. It's supposed to be an hour, but we got a lot of content here, and we're having fun, so it might run a little longer.
Well, speaking of fun,
let's make some people laugh.
We got to have that little, comrades.
We try to be respectful, and we try to not to swear very much. And I know there's people, especially down in North Carolina. We know you guys are Bible-loving people down there, and we are too. I love God.
Right.
I'm a born-again Christian myself. But if you don't like the swear words and you don't like a little vulgarity, turn your volume down for 3 or 4 minutes while we
watch it.
Make the rest of these dirty guys laugh a little bit.
Yes.
So
yes,
we're ready for
You
that.
guys want to see something funny? Well, do you? Is this really happening?
What's up, comrades?
What's up, comrades? I'm Lord Virgin Pecker.
And to all the trolls, I'd like to say fuck off.
Yeah, you stupid trolls! You don't know nothing about this life! You don't know shit about this life! Mom's gonna be so pissed you shot a hole in the wall!
It's time to take a stand. We can't just talk about it anymore. Talking is for the 3%ers. The 3%ers, all they do is talk.
3%ers actually have jobs. And we know how to raise our kids right. And they know how to load a gun properly. And we will beat your skinny little ass! Fist bump.
We need to raise money to be able to build targets and to build hills.
And to buy new dildos. And more Ed Hardy merchandise from Hot Topic.
It's not as easy as you think to put the clip in. Can't get it. Like, I got it before.
I mean, really? Is it really that hard? Hold up. Safety first, kids. Get up, church.
Join that national group, and we will put you guys where you need to go.
So hop in your mom's minivan and grab your skateboards. And don't forget your Capri Suns and your foam swords either. You little anorexic lesbian-looking soldiers. Comrades.
So until next time, resist. We must always resist.
You guys suck. You are like ISIS. Just the fuckboy version.
Good one, Peter. Good one, dude.
Comrades.
Yeah, the teeny bopper army, man. And then the finale with our cross-dressing terrorist.
Yeah, that's one of our locals, guys. If you're watching and you're not from around here.
Yeah. She comes out with her hammer and her axe handle. And,
That's what we refer to as Rosie Palm.
yep. Rosie. Hi, Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
Hi, Bobby
Comrade.
Morgan. Throw up Bobby Morgan there.
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby Morgan. Resist.
Yes.
Resist.
Comrade.
Is that it? Resist. All right, enough silliness. This next part of the show, we try to make this a little educational, a little informative. I think it's a good idea that everybody out there learns a little something every now and then. You know what the Watchmen are. We've told you quite a bit about us and what we do, and we've shown you videos and pictures and stuff, but there's other groups out there. And when things hit the fan, you're going to see other groups out there. We're not the only ones. We didn't just pop on the scene, Watchmen, here we are. There's groups that have been here a lot longer than us, and they're going to be here standing by our side when the ugliness goes down, right?
Without a doubt, brother. I think you can tell I'm biting my tongue a little bit. I'm waiting for you to get going on this. And
yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the Proud Boys tonight. Okay. I'm not here to glorify the Proud Boys or endorse any of their activities. I'm just here to give you information and inform you on what they're all about, what their beliefs are, and what they do on the street. And the reason that brought this idea to me for a podcast issue was show that picture, Peter, of us in Washington, D.C. with the Proud Boys. Now, you go to Washington, D.C. for a Million Man March like I did or what Brett did this past weekend, you better get your ass close to the Proud Boys if you want to stay safe.
Listen, I'm just going to jump to the gun. In Freedom Plaza, where everybody was meeting for the Trump rally, there was thousands and thousands of people and thousands of Proud Boys, brother. And they waited until after everybody had already gathered down there, and the Proud Boys went down and surrounded Freedom Plaza. It was awesome, brother. It was awesome. There was enough Proud Boys to do that.
Yeah, and if they weren't there, you would have been picked off like ducks in a pond.
Well, you seen what was happening at they waited until we all went home, and they jumped the elderly. Guess what? No Trump supporters got beat up.
So I posted that picture of us with the Proud Boys on my Facebook page. I don't hide anything. Everything's public. And I got so much crap for that from people who are in our group, people who supported our group, people who hated our group, all with totally misinformed ideas and attitudes. I had people saying, I supported your Watchmen until I saw that picture with you and the Proud Boys. And I said, well, why are you mad about me having a picture with the Proud Boys? What information do you have about the Proud Boys? And they would come back with, they're a hate group, they're racist, they're this, they're that. And everything they were telling me was just like, I said, did you ever go to their website and actually read some information on who the Proud Boys are, what they believe in, and the actual information that is accurate and correct, not the crap that you've heard on the mainstream media.
Charlie, that the people that do not, align with the Proud Boys are those that have followed the media and listened to what they say. I mean, if you Google Proud Boys, you see nothing good in there about them. If you go to the website, and you look it up and you read about what the Proud Boys really stand for, you'd be surprised because they're all patriots. They're all veterans. They're ex-cops. They're everything that we are. Only difference is they're not standing down. You know what? It was really cool that we were called, let me rephrase that the Proud Boys were called, America's security. You know why we were down there?
America's Security Force, yep. ProudBoysUSA.com, or is it .org? I think it's .com. ProudBoysUSA dot something is where you can find out more information
It's
about
.com.
them. But
It's
it's
.com.
.com.
Yep, yep.
It's .com. But like I said, everybody said, "Oh, you're hanging out with a bunch of racists." Well, let me show you who the national chairman of this group is. You know, he's not a white guy.
In case you haven't realized already, you know, and I think everybody that's watching this or is going to watch this knows that racist has become the new safe word.
Yeah, we're not even going to
I know,
address
but it
that. They
has.
can call
It
us.
has,
They
right.
can call us
Anything, right? I don't care.
princesses in
Right.
pink dresses. I don't care.
Well,
We're not. You know, what they say doesn't matter anymore. This is Enrique Tarrio.
Enrique Tarrio.
He's the chairman of the national group of the Proud Boys.
He's not white.
He's not white. He's Cuban, Cuban American. He actually claims to be Afro-Cuban. That's what he calls himself, Afro-Cuban from
That's
Miami.
what I seen when I was down there.
So how could this be a white supremacist take?
All kinds of black people and black women.
Yep.
You know, there was black women down there that were Proud Boys women, Proud Boys girls. That's what they're called. So
Now, the Proud Boys are no different than the Watchmen in their beliefs. Total patriots, love America, hate seeing innocent people hurt. The only difference I can really pick out that stands out significantly is they're more aggressive. You know, we try to be a protective, peacekeeping force. They're very aggressive. They go out and really sweep the streets of these people that are hurting. Guys like Brett who go down innocently to go to a rally or a march, and all of a sudden he's getting fireworks thrown at him.
thrown at you, fireworks, water bottles, you know, you name it. And again, you know, if the Proud Boys weren't there and you know, happening to be set the tone and let them know that, hey, you know, this isn't going to happen anymore, which we are asking you, you know, to stand up and say we're tired of this shit, you guys.
So, just like we have the Watchmen Creed, which Jeff will be doing at the end of the show, and I hope you guys all stick around for that because it's a really good one this week. The Proud Boys have their core tenets, and this is what they believe in. Minimal government. How is that different than us? Government doesn't need to be in our lives. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to fend for ourselves. That was Trump's philosophy, getting rid of the regulations and all the crap. We don't need Governor Cuomo sneaking up behind us in the window, peeking in and seeing how many people we have in our house.
Pulling cards, shutting shit down.
Minimal government. I'm sure everybody who's watching is all for that. Maximum freedom. Do I need to say more? Maximum freedom.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, it's exactly what everybody wants.
Anti-political correctness. Enough of this cancel culture because you said something wrong or you didn't say something that the lefties approved of, and now all of a sudden you're losing your job or you're losing your TV show or that movie can't be shown on TV anymore, and baby, it's cold outside. I want to hear that song, damn it.
The renaming Abraham Lincoln schools everywhere.
Yep. So, anti-drug war. I'm not real sure about that one. Peter, can you pull that one up and let's read about what they think about the anti-drug war? It's not on that one. We've got the explanation of each of these tenets. Anti-drug war, let me read that to you. An endless war of countless casualties, policies that bury the addicted rather than reform them. It empowers the wicked and emboldens the corrupt. The prohibition of certain chemical substances and medicinal plants has fueled the rise of violent regimes which have ruined our neighboring nations and destroyed our local communities. Hear, hear.
What more can you say?
I wasn't sure.
Hate them. Hate them.
I wasn't sure what that was all about, but that explains it right there, and I'm all for that. What do we got next, Peter? We've got closed borders. Every conservative here is going to applaud that. I mean,
how can you not?
I'm not a cruel person. I'm all for taking care of everybody else, but we've got to come up with an immigration system that allows people in legally and not, you know, swimming through rivers and climbing fences and hiding in the shadows in our country.
And sending, it's how so much way, sending terrorists over or whatever, every fucking criminal.
There's so much more that goes with that. I mean, child trafficking, the drug trade, blah, blah, blah. Anti-racial guilt, which I don't think we even need to read that one, but I will. I believe it's, you know, don't feel bad for being white. There's no reason why you should feel bad for being white. Let no man be burdened with shame for the deeds of his ancestors. I didn't own any slaves, did you?
Never.
Let no people be held accountable for the things they never did. In most cases, not even their own family. May we right the wrongs of the past as one people rather than perpetuate the plague of division which caused them in the first place.
Bam.
I mean, you're going to hate me because I'm standing next to a Proud Boy after what we're reading right here? Pro-free speech. Boom, First Amendment. Pro-gun rights. Boom, Second Amendment. No explanation needed. Glorifying the entrepreneur. No explanation needed. That's pro-capitalism. Make yourself the best you that you can be. Don't depend on welfare. Don't depend
Better
on
yourself.
handouts. You make your own way in this country, and everybody has the ability to be whatever they want to be if they work hard enough.
Yeah, damn straight, Charlie. You know, I preach it all the time.
Yep, that's exactly what that means. Venerating the housewife. Now, this is one I looked into because there's a certain belief and a difference between the Watchmen and the Proud Boys. Women are not allowed in the Proud Boys. They do have a separate group called the Proud Boys Girls, which are their girlfriends and things, but they're not actually allowed to be Proud Boys. We allow girls and women in our group, and we welcome them and embrace them, and they've been great supporters, and sometimes we get more women at our meetings than we do men. They believe in, and they're not inflexible. Inflexible is the word. They're not inflexible on this, but they just believe that the woman has her place in the home, taking care of her man, taking care of the kids, being a housewife, and I can't knock that. That's a biblical principle.
You know what? So I was talking to a couple of guys while we were down there, and another thing that it is that they shouldn't be fighting. You know, you can call me a sexist or whatever, but
Yeah,
I think I believe in that.
I can't bash anything that's a biblical principle. I totally support women in the workplace, career women making their own way, becoming whatever they can be, but they just happen to believe that the woman should be taking care of the family and the man is the man, and that's the way it is with the Proud Boys. What was the last one there, Peter? Reinstating a spirit of Western chauvinism. Now, when you become a Proud Boy, this is your induction. You'll probably see that in one of these videos later. It starts out with Western chauvinism, right?
I am a Western chauvinist.
I am a Western chauvinist.
I would not apologize for the ways of the modern world.
Yeah, I will not apologize for creating the Western world.
I am a Proud Boy.
Yep.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yep. Uhuru is a Swahili word for loyalty. So they believe that the spirit of being a Western chauvinism, it means that they believe that the Western way of life is the best. They're not into the Far East. They're not into Russia. They're not into communism. The Western way of life has created a world that has prospered more people than any other method of government or culture. That's what they mean by Western chauvinist. They love their Western culture.
And so should you.
Yep, and so should you. So, I mean, last week's show, we showed a response we had. A couple guys went out to quell a disturbance, and it ended up being 7 guys, then 8 guys, then 15 guys. But one Proud Boy showed up. We didn't call him. We didn't tell him to come. He happened to be listening to a police scanner and showed up all on his own. There's a disturbance. He knew that the Watchmen were probably going to be there. He didn't just come by himself. He knew we were going to be there. But he came, and he stood next to us, and he put his...
Did what Proud Boys should do.
Yeah, he put his body out there with the rest of us. And, you know, when the time comes, we might be putting our bodies out there with the Proud Boys. So I want you guys to know what they're all about and not have this stigma about them.
Please don't Google the Proud Boys guys and look up there and see exactly what the media wants to portray them at. It's a lie. It all is a lie. 90% of what you read on social media, you guys, is telling you what they want you to know. In case you don't realize that already, shame on you.
Now, it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. Now, if something does happen and our government falls or there's anarchy or who knows, Trump's assassinated and all hell breaks loose, there's so many different scenarios. All could happen or none could happen, but the Proud Boys are going to be ones out there protecting you, Proud Boys are going to be ones out there keeping law and order and fighting the bad guys, and they are everywhere. They are everywhere. There's not an inch of this country that doesn't have a group of Proud Boys, and that includes Buffalo, New York.
Surprisingly.
Yep. And we know them. We have an association with them. They're friends of ours. Guy I knew for many, many years. One day after I started the Watchmen, started talking to me about the Proud Boys. And I said, well, who's running the Proud Boys in Buffalo? And he said, you're looking at them. And I had no idea. But, he saw me starting the Watchmen, and that was kind of his way of saying, hey, we're here for you.
That's awesome.
So
Proud Boys are a good bunch of stand-up dudes, bro.
We've got some videos of the Proud Boys. There's a lot of violence in these videos. If you're not in tune with violence or you don't want to see this, just tune out.
Let me give a little disclaimer before look, we went to D.C. this weekend, and we went down just to support, the president after we think, that all this corruption is going on. And if you don't believe that, something's wrong again. But anyways, after the Million MAGA March, went down, and, there was a few Proud Boys there, but not as many, as this time. Everywhere I looked, there was a Proud Boy. Everywhere I looked, Charlie. But, again, you have to look at these videos, and you got to think that there was maybe as many or more Antifa and BLM radicals there. Why were they there? This was a peaceful protest, Charlie, of people going down to support their president, and all of a sudden these people are trying to fight everybody.
If you're a conservative, the Proud Boys are your friends. This violence in these videos is only probably in retaliation to being attacked, and they've had their guys shot and stabbed, and, emotions run high, and they're a little more aggressive than the Watchmen are, a lot more aggressive than the Watchmen are, and they go out and take care of business on the streets. So let's see what you got, Peter.
Started as a joke. We're not a joke anymore, but we went past just being an organization. This has become a movement.
Yes, damn right.
And the truth is that all us red-blooded Americans are Proud Boys. So regardless of gender, regardless of anything, what your beliefs are, because I'm pretty sure everybody here is right-wing. Yeah. Except some people that are pointing cameras at me. Yeah. I'm kidding. But I want you to repeat after me.
Wave our nose in for that's right.
I'm going to induct you guys right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah! Woo-hoo! Let's do it. Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, repeat after me. I am a Western chauvinist.
I am a Western chauvinist.
Who refuses to apologize. For creating the modern world. We're all Proud Boys. Right now, the most important thing that we have going for us is that we all share the same belief. The belief that we should put America first. America first! 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 Ladies and gentlemen, look to your left. Look to your fucking right. This is your tribe. This is your people.
Fuck Kyle Chapman!
Yeah, motherfucker Kyle Chapman. Oh, actually, somebody right now that you just said it, somebody that's really important. Kyle Rittenhouse. A 17-year-old kid that decided to fight back. And what did the system do to him?
But we fight anyway! We fight anyway!
Break out Kyle!
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 Break out Kyle! Break out Kyle!
Now for the president.
watching, we're just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. We're just kidding.
Yeah, Minecraft.
But here's another thing that I want, that I've been repeating all day. Their fucking motto for the past 4 years has been resist. Resist is for pussies.
Yeah, right.
Resist puts you on the fucking defense. Now again, if the feds are listening, I mean this in the most peaceful way possible. The truth is that we need to revolt. We need to change things. Our fucking election system is fucking rigged. And that's not just a problem in 2020, that's always been a problem.
And Lyndon B. Johnson said people voted.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being out here, for coming out here today, for coming out here tonight. Because it shows unity. It shows what happens when we work together. We are a fucking tribe. And I'm willing to fucking put my life in front of any one of you, for any one of you. I love all of you.
Take a bullet for your brother. I am my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
All right, one more thing. Because the truth is that this is all about love.
Damn right.
Love for each other and love for our country.
No love for Congress.
America!
So I ask you one more time, look to your left. Tell that person you love them.
I love you, brother.
Now look to your right.
I love you,
Tell
brother.
that person you love them. And something that we all love. One me. Something that we all love. We all love our country. Yeah. And we all want to put our country first. Yeah. So one more fucking chat, ladies and gentlemen. USA!
USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA! USA!
Man, if
brings
that
tears to my eyes.
If that didn't touch you, watching that video when he said turn to your left, turn to your right, and tell him I love you. That's exactly
what a freaking hate group, huh?
Yep.
I'm ready to cry here. That's how emotional I get seeing that. I was part of that. I was part of things like that 3-4 weeks ago. Brett was part of that 3-4 days ago. And you do not know the feeling that it brings you, being a lover of America. It brings tears to my eyes.
You guys, I don't know what more to tell you except that now is the time for everybody to do something. We have to do something, you guys. There's nothing, sitting around. And waiting for somebody else to do it is not doing it anymore.
That was
exactly what he said. And I hate to say it, Charlie, and I hate to step on toes, but, we have to revolt. We have to.
Yeah, I agree. The proper way of doing it, though, we got to figure out the way to do it. That was a speech that Enrique, right?
Right, Enrique.
Yeah, that was the leader of the Proud Boys underneath the Washington Monument. What a fitting place to do that. Now they go into action. They had their pep talk. Let's go into action, Peter.
Fuck Antifa! 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 Stop the steal!
Black and yellow, baby. You see that black and yellow coming. They're
Charlie,
on
that
your
was
side.
a real video of us marching down, of the Proud Boys marching down.
Oh, you were in there. Brett was in there with them. I mean, you don't have to be ashamed of marching with the Proud Boys.
All right, then here.
You know.
A hooroo.
Yep. But there was something I was going to say. Yeah, this too. Mark Odin and all the other idiots. That's not a white power symbol.
No,
that's the symbol of the Proud Boys.
It stands for Proud Boys.
That
fucking
stands for
idiots.
Proud Boys.
Stupid fuck.
So you wanna say the white power symbol. Go to hell. Let's roll the next one, Peter.
If you're out there watching this, if you're not motivated, what's going on here in D.C., man, there's something wrong with you. This country is standing up. Get up. Do something. We're all out here taking a risk, our jobs, our families. This country was founded on people that took a risk, that fought for the American dream. The American dream ain't free. It ain't easy. You gotta work for it. You gotta get up and put in the work. So get up, say fuck Antifa. You say fuck these bureaucrats that are corrupt, trying to steal your America. Fight for your American dream. Get you some.
When I was young, couldn't stand to believe it. Somewhere there was the sun left to shine. Now my heart won't be still till I've seen it. It won't be still till I've made it mine. There's a fear to be seen, it's around me. As afraid as the dark is the light. With the time full of those who stay streets. Now I will know what that keeps me alive. Keep me There's a face that I've seen in the window. There's a face that is strong and bold. When I try to believe when the wind blows, far away is the will of his soul. You've been fed what they want to defeat you. You've been bled of the will to survive. They extend just as long as they need you, but you're the only one that gets you.
I got one thing to say. You're not a man until you beat your enemy with an American flag.
Listen, and for those of you that are saying so, something about the Black Lives Matter, sign that was getting torn up. You guys, these are not, the Black Lives Matter, people that believe in the movement. These are the radicals that were out there fighting and trying to stab people and causing pain. And guess what? Guess what, Charlie? No Trump supporters got beat, up. No Trump supporters got beat down like last time. It was safe protest. People were safe. Guess what happened? They were cheering. They were loving it. The Proud Boys were the America's hero. God bless the Proud Boys.
And you wouldn't believe how many black people are in that crowd with
so many
with us and with the Proud Boys. Right. They know what's up. They know what's up. That's why Trump got more percentage of the black vote this time around than ever before.
I'm going to add one more thing. If you don't realize who is truly, dividing this country and dividing the blacks and whites, is unfortunately the white liberals with spoons in their mouth that are, making everybody hate each other.
Exactly. Roll another one, Peter. How many videos have you seen of Antifa harming innocent people, destroying buildings, burning, looting, hitting women? Isn't it nice to just see what they've got coming to them one time?
And you know what? DC is totally different, Joe. The cops there are definitely Democratic cops. They're definitely on the the Antifa side. They're told to stand down and let them do anything. They were throwing bricks. They were throwing mortars at us. They were throwing everything at us. We stayed at the Hyatt place, and it was like ground zero. You were there for the Million MAGA March. The littlest thing popped off. All of a sudden, there's thousands of Antifa in front of our hotel. There was maybe 50 50 Proud Boys, and protecting all the people that were in the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Nobody would even be able to go to Washington, D.C. if it wasn't for the Proud Boys. Now, in many of those videos, you saw a guy with a beard who was up in front. He was standing next to Enrique during his speech. He's like Enrique's right-hand man, and he's called Noble Beard, right?
Yep.
He got stabbed this weekend. Show the picture. There he is trying to take on an Antifa, and he got stabbed in the abdomen.
Yeah,
Had to go through a couple different surgeries. He's probably still in the hospital. He was in ICU last time I heard. Many people got stabbed. Many people got shot. It's just a violent, ugly thing that's going on in the streets of America today, and this show is called The State of America, and we're just trying to show you what's going on out there.
I'm sure we're going to get lots of hate mail, about this, and if that's the way you feel, that's fine with you.
I don't care. I'm tired of people.
I'm saying God bless the Proud Boys, God bless the Watchmen, and God bless you if you think that you are going to take part in this. Come on, the Watchmen need you. The Watchmen need you.
Exactly. Get up off the couch, protect your neighbors, protect your family, protect your towns and communities. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to go out there and do the things that the Proud Boys do. But when it's time for that to happen, the Proud Boys will be there with you.
And
that's all I wanted to try to say tonight.
Not only that, but even if you watch these peaceful protests that are going on locally, guys, they're not peaceful. They're there to fight with axe handles, with pickaxes. You know what? I'm tired of this shit, you guys. My name is Brett Byro. I am the director of Niagara County Watchmen. If you are tired of this shit, hit me up. Let's do something. I'm tired of sitting around.
Okay. Well, that wraps up my and Brett's part of the show. Thank you for joining us. We'll try to get as much interesting information to you as we can every week. We want to have our classroom segment now, our educational piece, and Jeff did a really good one this week. This is Professor Jeff, the Watchman from Tennessee. He's not really a professor. I just like calling him that because he's so smart. He sounds like one. But he did a piece tonight on slavery, tearing down the monuments.
Please listen. Please listen. Please have your kids listen if they're still up or they're not doing nothing.
How we're not guilty for our history, and just listen to his message.
Please listen, you guys.
It's 20 minutes long, 20 minutes, and it's really good this week.
And you will learn something.
Yes, you'll be smarter in 20 minutes. So good night, everybody. Thank you, Jeff, for your piece.
Comrades.
Hello, everybody. This is Jeff again, and I'm doing the third installment on the Watchman Creed, so we're going to go over the third principle. I'll try to do as best I can. It seems criminal to try to treat this subject in 10, 15 minutes or so, but I'll do the best I can. But I'm going to try to address let me read the third principle of the Creed. We believe in remembering and honoring our ancestors, their struggles, their triumphs, their failures, and their victories. All as common men and women, each flawed individually, yet emboldened with courage and optimism to forge a life of free men and women in a new country as yet never before known among the family of nations. We attest and affirm that all men should only be judged in light of the conventions of the times in which they lived, the issues which govern their passions in those times, and their adherence to the moral conduct of the ages as reflected in natural law to which our founders were so keen. We reject all attempts to implement a revision of history that removes the rightful place of our ancestors in the pantheon of history they have enjoyed throughout the ages. So what does that mean? Well, I'll focus in on two things here. One, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and that is the issue of slavery. Two, I'm going to talk about historical monuments. The key thing in this principle here is that We attest and affirm that all men should only be judged in light of the conventions of the times in which they live, the issues which govern their passions in those times, and their adherence to the moral conduct of the ages reflected in natural law, to which our founders were so keen. If you remember from the first episode that I did, our founders used as guiding lights basically three things. One was Anglo-Saxon common law. The other one was natural law, and the other one was revealed religion, general revelation in Scripture. The reason I'm making that point is because the revisionist history and the people who just gin up raw emotion and hatred of things that they honestly don't understand, they paint this picture that our founding generation and everyone who's come since then, especially in regards to the issue of slavery and women not having the right to vote, things like this, they create this narrative that this was done in a vacuum, that all the other nations of the world were really good people, and then there was this convergence upon this continent, and after we abused and kicked out the Indians, then we set about figuring who else we could punish and be mean to. That's not even remotely true. The point that you need to remember is, were these men, when you look back on any generation of history, ancient, medieval, Victorian, whatever, you judge those people, if you must judge, by the conventions of their time, okay? You don't apply 21st century America's view of right and wrong and what's morally acceptable and what's not morally acceptable to people who lived 100, 200, 300, 400 years earlier, okay? So what was some of their justification? Before the American Civil War, there were debates raging across the nation among abolitionists, largely seated in New England, and pro-slavery factions in the Cotton South, largely in the Cotton South. You found them in all southern states, but mainly in the Cotton South because that's where they had such a need for mass labor. But one of the things that the abolitionists just kind of kicked to the side and really didn't want to talk about, and that's not uncommon today in churches, to where if there's a topic that's uncomfortable or that's difficult, postmodern pastors today, they just throw it aside. They don't even talk about it. Well, anyway, in Leviticus chapter 25, there was what earlier generations of Christians viewed as justification for bond slavery. God told the Hebrews as they came out of Egypt, and when he started forming them toward their promised land and making a people unto himself out of these former slaves themselves, that they were to take bondmen and bondwomen only from the heathen nations that were around them. They were not to take bondmen and bondwomen from among their brethren, from among the children of God. So I'm not asking you to understand that. I'm not asking you to agree with that. I'm telling you that that was largely in the thinking of generations in the past, especially in the Christian world, that had chattel slavery. Okay? Now, the key here is that the Hebrew could not take, the Israelite could not take a slave from among his brethren. He couldn't do that. So if you come into America and you go to the old churches, whether it's up north or down south, if you go into these old churches, you'll see a mezzanine built at the back of the church, a balcony. And that's not for the overflow crowd on the Christmas Eve service. That was for slaves. That was a slave balcony, a slave quarter is what that was. And if you were a God-fearing slave owner, and that may sound like a contradiction to some of you, but again, we're not looking from 21st century view. We're looking back in the 18th century, okay, early 19th century. If you were a believing Christian slave owner, then you had a commandment to proclaim the gospel. And one of the ways you did that is these people that were on your plantation, you put them in church on Sunday morning. Well, if you are a God-fearing slave owner, and owing to passages like Leviticus, the 25th chapter of Leviticus, if these slaves became exposed to the gospel and became converted, they were no longer those people. They were now your brother in Christ or your sister in Christ. So now the slave owner had a dilemma. This person who has worked for him as a slave has now come to Christ. Now he must treat him as a brother in Christ. He's not commanded, in the New Testament to let him go, but he's to view him from the perspective that God views him, which is he's a brother. And God was all about liberating the soul, not putting it in bondage. We come into this world in bondage. So the obedient Christian slave owner, if he's being obedient to Scripture, he cannot hold that slave, that brother, as a slave. So now you had two other classifications. You had manservants and maidservants, and those were more like indentured servants. They weren't bond slaves. They actually had an expiration time on their servitude, and sometimes they were paid, and so it kind of morphed over into a paid employee. So anyway, that's just some of the thinking that was in that generation that is extremely alien to us today. But the point is not to try to justify or sugarcoat the institution of slavery, but simply give you a basis in fact of how it was. Now let me make this point. A senator, and I guess I'll leave his name out of this, from Virginia, I'll go that far, said a couple of years ago in the Senate that the United States did not perpetuate slavery. We invented slavery. Well, that is the stupidest, most uninformed statement that anyone, especially in a high-profile position that he has, with such a subject that touches so many raw nerves, the most irresponsible thing he could ever say. As many times that man has been a governor, he's been a vice presidential candidate, and he's been a senator. As many times as that man has put his left hand on the Bible and raised his right hand in an oath, if he would have opened that Bible up, he would have seen that slavery has been around since the dawn of man. We did not create it. Yes, in a very true sense, we inherited it, but I'm not trying to get anybody off the hook. There's no hook to be gotten off of. Okay? It was a convention of the time. Okay? But America is the only nation that ever set about to officially end it at the cost of it. Now, England did and France did, but would they have done it as part of a larger armed conflict? That's doubtful. That's doubtful. And furthermore, France and England did not have the need for mass slavery, but they sure liked our cotton. So it's a bit hypocritical of them. They were buying cotton all day long that was harvested by slaves, all the while condemning the slave trade. And America condemned the slave trade. We stopped the slave trade early on. But anyway, this is a very sensitive subject that requires a lot of deep diving and digging to do fair treatment. And at the end of the day, probably most people are not going to be happy. But, I'm not looking to make people happy. I'm simply trying to explain through some factual points of history who we are as a people, and that we didn't just show up, and these institutions that some people disapprove of, that were not created in a vacuum. Okay, they pre-existed the United States, and we ended it. Okay, now as far as the monuments, let me touch on this briefly. If you drive it through most old small southern towns, you'll see a lone Confederate sentinel in the middle of the town square. That is not propagation of the institution of slavery. Has nothing to do with that. That tradition basically started after the Battle of Shiloh, April 6th and 7th, 1862. And the brief summary of this is that up until that time, it had always been a standing expectation of warring Christian nations to allow the opposing sides to collect their dead after a battle and bury them through their Christian burial. At the Battle of Shiloh, after the South retreated toward Corinth, Mississippi on April the 7th, at the end of the day on April 7th, 1862, the days following that, the ladies, various ladies' aid societies and Christian societies from Corinth, Mississippi, petitioned Union General Ulysses S. Grant through the Confederate Second Command at that time, now in command because Johnston was killed, but through General Beauregard to allow the ladies and the Army to collect their dead. Well, they received a shocking reply from Grant, and he said that that would not be neither necessary nor allowable, as the Confederate dead had all been buried in mass graves. Well, that was horrendous shock. These wives, these mothers, these sisters, these daughters, they never got to bury their fathers, sons, husbands, brothers. They marched off to war on April the 5th, and that was the last time they saw them. Well, it was always an expectation. It was never thinkable that they would not be allowed to bury their dead. And now, in Grant's defense, although some question this, but in Grant's defense, Shiloh was a very rural area along the Tennessee River, and there were a lot of wild hogs in the area, feral hogs. And it created a ghastly scene on the night of April the 7th, where these hogs went throughout the battlefield and were eating Confederate dead as well as Union dead. And so on April the 8th, as the Union Army began to stir on the battlefield of Shiloh to basically take inventory of what had happened, they were greeted to an unimaginable scene of, their comrades as well as Southern soldiers dismembered and chewed and eaten all across the field. So that spreads disease very quickly. So Grant issued an order to bury these soldiers as quickly as possible. And, he obviously had no favoritism toward the Southern soldiers, so those men were dumped all in common graves. Anyway, there was no provision to have a grave, no grave to visit. So after that, what sprung up in southern towns across the Cotton South especially, you saw these lone Confederate sentinels, and if you put your biases aside and you get out of your car and read what's inscribed on a lot of those monuments, if not all of them, it all pays homage to our Southern dead or our Confederate dead. It's a grave marker. It was the only marker that these women had. It was the only way that they could turn the page or close the book or whatever, metaphor we use today to give them closure to move on. It was a lone grave marker of a Confederate sentinel that was the last resting place, at least psychologically, to many, many, many Southern widows and children. So it's extremely upsetting to people like me when those monuments are targeted. Those are grave markers, and you're desecrating a grave marker. And that's very disturbing, and it shows how base some of our people have become in this nation. So anyway, and I could go on, and there's I'm really just skipping lightly here on this subject, because this is not the forum or the venue, and certainly not the time to expound on this, to do it justice. But anyway, so just wanted to, as far as the third principle of the creed, America has a rich history to be proud of. As I've said before, have we done things in this country that are probably not something to be so proud of? Absolutely, every nation on the history of this earth has. When you go back to slavery again, I mean, where do you want to begin? Where do you want to end? You know, the Hebrews were slaves under the Egyptian heel. Greeks had slaves. Romans had slaves. What about Africa? Have you ever heard of the Zulu? The Zulu are a proud people. I do a lot of studying about the 1870s, the Zulu War. But Shaka Zulu was one cruel individual, and he enslaved fellow Africans wherever he could find them. They were given an option. He would go to war with them and he would conquer them, and they were either given the option to join and become part of his warrior empire, or they were slaves. And he was brutal. We don't talk about that. What about, you know, how did the slaves get to America? Well, most of them came from Portuguese slave ships. Portuguese and Dutch brought them here to a large extent. England did have slavery. France had slavery. They outlawed theirs pretty early on. But again, it was in America that we had the founding documents to where we wouldn't just eradicate an institution. We could begin to eradicate the idea that the institution was built upon. And so, as it is the work of the Christian to spread the kingdom of Christ, and that is the message of liberty and freedom from bondage, spiritual bondage. So it's kind of hard and hypocritical if we extrapolate out to the end of that to maintain a temporal bondage of an individual while we're trying to advocate for their spiritual liberation. Well, that's our founding documents. That's America. And so again, my position is I'm extremely proud of my ancestry. You know, those before we came to America and as well as those in America. I had many, many, many ancestors that fought for the South in the what we call the Civil War. I had ancestors that fought for the North in what we call the Civil War. But anyway, be proud of your American ancestry. These were people that were faced with the challenges and the conventions of life, and they kept forging ahead and made a nation that has brought freedom and prosperity to more common people than any nation in the history of the world. There's been more good done out of this nation than there ever was bad. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hope y'all like this. And God willing, next week we will do the fourth principle. Have a good night. Bye-bye.